Good morning to everybody. Good morning. Welcome to Island Tea. I'm your host, Azard Gumbs, and with me we have Kortensia, we have Jamster, and we are here. We're here on Island Tea. We welcome everyone who is listening at this point in time, everyone who is perhaps driving towards work or some other place or someplace. We're hoping that you're having a fantastic morning already. We hope that you have a pleasant day throughout today. And we welcome you to another episode, another morning of Island Tea. How is everyone doing? How are you doing, Kortensia?
I am good, thanks. But I have to make it my duty to shout out the persons in the diaspora. Rusty, Miss DeGuaya, I think she's Kathleen,
yes,
Javon, Dennis. We have so many people out there listening to us. Miss Douglas there in the USVI. I can't remember all the names, but for all of you listening to us in the diaspora, a pleasant good morning on behalf of all of us here at Island Tea. We hope you woke up, I don't want to say on the right side of the bed, but that you woke up in great spirits, you had your tea already, and you're ready to face your day, irregardless of what will happen or what will be thrown at you. Gentlemen, how are you doing this morning?
Wonderful, wonderful. I started off my day with a bit of exercise, so I'm hoping that it goes well.
I did mine last night.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yeah. I looked at some news last night as well, there are a number of things that I see have made the news both locally, regionally, and internationally. If I look at some, we're looking a bit in the region. This really was circulating last evening. BVI attorney at law found dead with gunshot wounds. Yes. So this is from Look Caribbean, and it says there is a shock and disbelief in the British Virgin Islands as prominent attorney Jamal Smith was found dead with gunshot wounds at his residence on Tortola. This is the territory's first homicide for 2024. So the first homicide for the BVI is an attorney at law, Mr. Smith, and he says that the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force said on Monday it received a report via the 911 call center at 7:30 p.m. about a shooting at Manuel Reef. And officers of the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force and ambulance immediately responded to the scene. Upon arrival, thorough searches were conducted in the area, but nothing suspicious was initially found. Further investigations by officers led them to a residence in Manuel Hill area. After a thorough search of the premises, officers discovered a lifeless body, the lifeless body of Jamal Smith, 46 years old, of Manuel Hill, attorney at law, and with apparent gunshot wounds. He was pronounced dead at the scene.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I saw it posted first on Facebook, and then I looked at it this morning and I said, wow, this is, very sad, and condolences to Mr. Smith's family. He says that Jamal Smith, an attorney, is the founder and principal of Thornton Smith, a general practice law firm which focuses in complex corporate transaction. Yeah. It says Governor of the BVI, Daniel Proust, in a Facebook post said, I'm deeply saddened to see this. Jamal's commitment to public service made an important contribution to the Virgin Islands. My thoughts are with his loved ones. I would urge everyone with any relevant information to be in touch with the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force. Yeah. Yeah. Also, acting governor of the Virgin Islands, David Archer Jr., has expressed condolences to the family, friends, and colleagues of Jamal Smith. Yeah. And he said Smith will be remembered for, as he was a prominent member of the Virgin Islands legal community who gave many years of service to the territory by serving on a number of boards, including the Labor Arbitration Tribunal. Yeah, so, and from what I would have seen as well, what I saw, he did serve on a number of boards there, and so it's really unfortunate. The news, the death of this prominent attorney in the British Virgin Islands. Mm-hmm.
As you mentioned, condolences to everyone in Tortola, including his family and friends.
Yeah, it's really sad.
I was just thinking Tortola is a safe place to live, but they now experience their first homicide for this year, which is, oh boy.
March 14th.
Not good at all.
Yeah.
What could he have done to?
Very unfortunate, very unfortunate. And of course, we invite callers at any point in time. I see that, the open day for the houses, we're going back national now, the open day for the houses, the model home that has been constructed in Connery, the open house where persons were allowed to come in during times in the day up to 7 p.m. in the night to view the home and to
That
view.
happens today,
And
or it happened
that happened
yesterday? Okay.
So persons were continuously going back and forth, visiting the home, looking at the home, and today the handing over ceremony for the home is supposed to be done. Yes, I see a lot of persons posting. One comment I saw somebody posting saying that they hope that they're in the number of the 2,000 plus homes that have been promised by the government of St. Kitts and Nevis to be constructed over, now would be next 3 years. Initially, they said over the 4-year period they would construct 2,400 homes. 1 year has passed since then. So they now, perhaps to meet their deadlines, would have to do more than 600 per year. But we'll see how that turns out. And, yesterday I was looking at some news as well, and it involved Inter-Caribbean. So it involved Inter-Caribbean, a flight that seemed to have been en route from Antigua to Barbados. Just trying to get that information so I could share it with the public, because I had it last evening when I was reading, speaking about engine failure, So I just want to just quickly pull it up.
It was a malfunction.
Mm-hmm. So here I have it, and it's from 13 hours ago, and it's from from an Antigua news. So it is 14 hours ago, and it says the Inter-Caribbean plane makes emergency landing due to engine failure. It says an incident occurred at the VC Bird International Airport where an Inter-Caribbean plane experienced an engine failure during takeoff. The engine of the ATR 45 plane reportedly caught fire shortly after takeoff, prompting the pilot to turn back and make an emergency landing. Fortunately, the pilot was able to safely land the plane back at the airport, and all passengers on board were unharmed. It is speculated that the plane may have been en route to Barbados before the engine failure occurred. When I heard about that, when I read it, I said to myself, wow, that must have been such a traumatic experience for those persons on board. And I said, thank God that no one lost any life and that they were able to land safely back en route, and they were able to realize what happened at a quick time to ensure the safety of all on board. In fact, kudos to the pilot, kudos to everyone who made that reroute emergency landing possible and safe.
I'm going to say something. I'm going to say it loud and proud. The Caribbean have some of the best pilots, and some of the pilots that I flew with are now over at Inter-Caribbean. So I know these gentlemen are capable and able and can handle themselves. And as you said, I'm happy that they made a safe return to the ramp in Antigua. No lives were lost, and I hope everybody remained calm on board. I'm sure the flight attendants did their best to ensure that everybody was calm. So kudos. And as I said, the Caribbean, I think, has the best pilots.
Well, I'm not going to argue with that, being from the Caribbean.
I'm not down on anybody else in the world, but I'm just saying from what I know, the Caribbean has some of the best pilots.
Yes. So kudos again. And I mean, if we look at safety record in terms of, the Caribbean, we have been pushing our weight in ensuring safety. And so I'm so glad to hear that everything, despite what was happening, everyone got back safely.
Yep.
Yeah.
I know.
So in other news, I see as well, this is international, right? And when I saw this article, I was like, oh,
Tell
wow.
me it's not the one with Mr. Putin. Oh boy.
Yeah. I saw the headline and I was like, oh wow.
What is he trying to do? I cannot.
And he says, and this is from World News, Loop World News, and it says, Putin, Russia ready to use nuclear weapons if sovereignty threatened. And he says, President Putin said that Russia is ready to use nuclear weapons if there is a threat to its statehood, sovereignty, or independence, voicing hope that the U.S. would refrain from actions that could trigger a nuclear conflict. Putin's statement was another blunt warning to the West ahead of a presidential vote this week in which he is all but certain to win another 6-year term. In an interview with Russian state television release early Wednesday, Putin described U.S. President Joe Biden as a veteran politician who fully understands possible dangers of escalation and said that he doesn't think that the world is heading to a nuclear war. At the same time, he emphasized that Russia's nuclear forces are in full readiness, and from the military technical point of view, they are prepared. And that was the end of quote. And he says, Putin said that in line with the country's security doctrine, Moscow is ready to use nuclear weapons in case of a threat to the existence of the Russian state, our sovereignty, and independence. The Russian leader has repeatedly talked about his readiness to use nuclear weapons since launching the invasion of Ukraine in February 2022. The most recent such threat came in his State of the Nation address last month, when he warned the West that deepening its involvement in the fighting in Ukraine would risk a nuclear war. Yep.
Listen, in the name of Jesus, Putin, no. No. I do not understand why. How can one man has so much power?
And these nuclear weapons, we've seen them in action. Well,
we've seen them back then in movies.
Yeah, and we've seen them.
I don't want to see it in action. No, not
I. That, I mean, in terms of history is there, and when from the U.S. And we've seen the destruction that it has caused.
I've watched people, they have let go something that's nuclear, and I've watched people stood there and their skins were just falling off. I can't. No, we don't need this right now. We don't need. Mr. Putin, please behave. Just behave. Jesus, touch him. Touch his mind. He needs to behave. He's not acting right. I don't see why he thinks he needs to. He's already taken out all of his opponents, left, right, and center, to be the leader. I said you can see the extent sometimes that people go to get power, and he's one of them. And he doesn't care. He's out there. He shows you what he does, and he really does not care. Well, I said I have to come back home. This is an article from WINNMedia Family, and it's by Yolanda Weeks. And it speaks to our music festival, because we know everybody's hyped and waiting and ready. So the St. Kitts and Nevis, the long-anticipated reveal of the artist for the St. Kitts Music Festival 2024 is slated for Friday, as we would have mentioned. Persons would have rushed to the Facebook to make guesses of who they believe might be in the lineup. Listen to these ones. Mavado, Chris Brown, Chronic Law, and SZA were mentioned on several posts. Some persons also expressed interest in seeing a live performance of Vybz Kartel in hopes that the artist will win his appeal case today. So if he comes out, I guess they would like to see him on stage. But, so SZA and Chris Brown. These are big acts. They need to bring Beyonce, man. Oh, oh no. Okay, okay. So folks, it's scissor, as in the female singer, not sizzler. So SZA opposed to SIZZLER. Okay, so it's she sings R&B, and I'm sure a lot of the young ones, the middle-aged ones, knows her song. So let's see if Chris Brown and SZA are really gonna make an appearance. Maybe Beyonce, maybe Rihanna. Yeah, who knows?
You know, when you talk about Rihanna, my mind goes to her recent performance
In India?
In India with the wedding. That they said that the father of the of one of the persons, I can't recall if it's the groom or the bride.
Okay.
But he would have paid
6 million.
6 million.
I think it's the groom's dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's him who did it. Yeah.
Yeah. So
6 million is nothing. Look how much Beyonce got to perform in Dubai. Was it 24?
But
that's a lot of money.
The father is stated to be one of the wealthiest persons and there. So yeah.
Yep. But you sure? Because when people feel they're worth that much, they're not gonna downgrade for us small folks, you know. Oh.
So
okay.
So
fair enough.
Yeah. So persons are waiting with their breath. They've held their breath long enough, I think, and so they are waiting to see or to hear the announcement, see who's coming, and after the announcement is made, there's going to be those persons who say they like it, and they're going to be those persons who say it could be better. There are going to be persons that they're okay with it, and there's going to be persons that they don't like it at all. So
we have to wait. You can't please everybody in life. You can't please everybody in life. But I didn't realize the music festival would have been, well, they're saying it's being promoted as a 9-day experience from June 22nd to June 30th, 2024, to include a gospel festival day and night fest, island tours, and the usual 3 nights of concerts slated for June 27th to the 29th. So the St. Kitts Music Festival is in its 26th year. Kudos to you folks there for doing all the hard work and keeping the festival going. And it was initially referred to as the Shack Shack Festival. I remember that with the things that fall from the trees when we were kids and we would shake them. Yeah, I remember that.
The Shack Shack Festival.
Yeah, because remember they used to make the little skeleton guy that plays the what does he play now? The saxophone? Yeah. Before he used to be shaking the stuff when he moves.
So right? Back to international. That the U.S. lawmakers see TikTok as China's tool.
Yeah, I heard it's going to be banned soon. I'm sorry for those parents and kids that love TikTok.
Yes. So that is an article from Loop World News, and it says if the U.S. lawmakers have their way, the U.S. and China could end up with something in common. TikTok might not be available in either country. And so the House on Wednesday approved a bill requiring the Beijing-based company ByteDance to sell its subsidiary TikTok or face a nationwide ban. It's unclear if the bill will ever become law, but it reflects the lawmakers' fear that the social media platform could expose Americans to Beijing's malign influences and data security risks. So it says, but while the U.S. lawmakers associate TikTok with China, the company headquartered outside China has strategically kept its distance from its homeland. Since its inception, the TikTok platform has been intended for non-Chinese markets and is unavailable in mainland China. It pulled out of Hong Kong in 2020 when Beijing imposed a national security law on the territory to curtail speech. As data security concerns started to rise in the U.S., TikTok sought to reassure lawmakers that the data gathered on the U.S. users stays in the country and is inaccessible to ByteDance employees in Beijing. TikTok's parent company is following the same playbook as many other Chinese companies with global ambitions to win customers and the trust in the United States and other Western countries. They are playing down the Chinese roots and connections. Some have insisted they be called global companies instead of Chinese companies. But for TikTok, this may not be enough. The House passed overwhelmingly on a 352 to 65 vote. Its prospects in the Senate are uncertain. But if it clears both chambers, President Biden said he would sign it into law. The moves in Washington threaten the app's survival and cast a spotlight on that many private Chinese companies have found themselves a part of as they seek to engage in West Indian markets at the same time souring U.S.-China relations. Yeah, so they are of the concern that TikTok is gathering information and taking it back. So yes, so the U.S. has they're moving through the Senate, everything. They already cast their votes
to ban it.
Yeah, so as the article says, once it goes through all the procedures, the president would sign it into law.
Oh boy!
Once it follows all the procedures that have to be done.
Sorry for those folks who love TikTok. And I will come back home. So in a press release, I see the Clarence Fitzroy College and the Green Solutions International SKN Incorporated GSI proudly announced a transformative partnership to establish the Caribbean Center of Excellence in Research, Innovation, and Workforce Training. This is set to be unveiled on the 9th of April 2024. And it aims to position St. Kitts and the wider Caribbean region at the forefront of sustainable innovation and skilled workforce development. It also says the center will focus on a solar photovoltaic installation and electric vehicles maintenance and repairs, and will be housed within the College Technical Vocational Education and Management Studies. That's TVM's division. So there we go. It's another in the grand scheme of things, St. Kitts is on the go as we position ourselves to be a sustainable small island state or developing island state.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
I'm now seeing this, and I guess we could verify whether or not it's true. I'm seeing it coming from the St. Kitts Nevis Times, and it says breaking news: Keyon High School closed temporarily due to health hazards.
Oh boy.
And it says faulty plumbing and mold infestations. That's what the headline is saying. I know that there has been talks about the Keyon High School, its infrastructure and the like, but this is saying from St. Kitts Nevis Times that the Keyon High School is closed.
So where are the students going to be housed?
I don't know. It seems like it's something that just came out. It says breaking news. I'm assuming that the announcement was made just very recently. Yes. Wow. Wow. So
all the schools have. This just seems to be trending. Like all the schools have mold.
Well, it seemed that the Keyon High School, more than any other school right now, is based on the reports, based on what is being said in social media. It seems like the Keyon High School seems like, based on the image, based on what is being said,
it's
the
going through a lot.
Worst condition of all of them right now.
Because I mentioned the students sitting on the desk in the classroom not having enough for the children.
Yeah, and that is very alarming. So we urge the Ministry of Education, stakeholders, everyone involved to do their part in ensuring that, better is done for the interest of the children, for the interest of the students.
Their health and safety is priority. So
yes, we have a caller. Caller, you're live on Island T.
You ready, caller? You can call back. Sorry, we missed you.
So again, we urge the Ministry of Education to do what is necessary to ensure that this falls directly with the Ministry of Education, and so Ministry of Education needs to do what it has to. We have a caller.
Caller, go ahead. You're live on Island T. Good morning.
Good morning, host and hostess.
Good morning.
Well, thank you again for bringing the information to the people.
No problem.
And it's always important to educate the populace. Mm-hmm. What I want to comment on, though, is the mole situation.
Mm-hmm.
I have noticed that the courthouse is still closed, and we are renting, and the issue is mole. Well, I want to break this one to you. Every household and house in St. have mold. How come these people who go to these places like the school, the courthouse, don't move out of the...
Hello, caller?
Caller, you there?
Caller, you dropped out.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, go ahead.
My wondering is how come the people who function in these areas that close them, their houses have mold. How come they don't move out? Why are we not moving out of our houses that have mold? Why all government buildings are closed because of mold?
Well, I mean,
no other buildings have mold in St. but theirs.
Okay, so you say homes, right? You say homes, but you have to recall. But when you look at homes, homes are private property of individuals, so they make the choice that if they are going into their homes and the homes have moles, and that's their choice. But when you go into a public facility, the owner of that public facility, when you look at the rights of the owner has to ensure that it's maintained not to be a detriment to you. And so it's one to go into your home, it's another to go into your workplace. You understand?
Yes, I agree with you, but mold is mold. Mold is mold no matter where you go. And in this Caribbean country, whenever you have heavy sunshine, you have flying particles, all the dust and everything that's moved.
Yeah.
And when rain starts falling, the walls start sweating because of the condensation of the heat and so on.
Yeah.
And so when they dry up, you're going to see the mold on the wall if you don't clean it off.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you that everyone is being paid monthly or weekly, 2 weeks for the case maybe. Everyone being paid by government to do a job. And so to me, if those mold need to be cleaned, clean them and stay in the building.
Yeah.
Why do we have to rent more buildings? The kind of money that we're paying for rent, put it to clean those buildings or to keep the maintenance up.
So the point that
hefty point for rent,
So the point that you're making is that government should ensure that the buildings are kept and maintained periodically to reduce the mold, because mold happens everywhere. So they should be able to clean and ensure that they take control of it so it doesn't get worse.
How come the building that you move into, that normally will have mold too, because of the type of weather and temperature that we have.
Yes.
And everyone will have mold, but you clean it and keep it up to the standard that it should be maintained.
Okay, so that's the point you are making then. Okay, yes.
Building, they maintain the cleanliness of it to make sure that you don't have mold. So why can't you maintain your own?
Yeah. Okay, so I get your point you're making.
Idea the kind of money that this country spends for rent, we cannot move forward because our taxes, most of our taxes go in rent and salary and wages. So the country cannot get a chance to develop. It is struggling with these heavy wages and heavy rental to facilitate who? Others who we will never get near to. Those things don't make any sense to me. Justice must not only be done, but it must be seen to be done.
Yeah. And
I have a problem with these issues. I have a serious problem with them. And who else don't have a problem? Something is wrong with us.
And you have to
Why
be very...
is it that we are renting buildings? Why we can't take the same rental and inject into cleaning those property and take out the mold? We will pay 25% of that. And that money could be used someplace else to facilitate all citizens of this country who will benefit.
Yeah.
In addition to that, caller, you look at the impact on mold, the impact that the mold would have on the immune system, and so that comes with health complications as well. So if you have students in there or persons in there, teachers, everyone is different. Everyone's body responds differently. And so even thinking about students in those kind of conditions or teachers in those kind of conditions and the health implications, that could be overwhelming. So it's better to reduce and maintain a safe environment than to deal with the repercussions of not doing so.
Partner, children move out of the school Friday afternoon, cleaners moving Friday afternoon, and finish Sunday morning.
So the kids are good for Monday.
Classroom should be ready for Monday morning. And don't tell me that it can't be done. It could be done. When they move in the courtroom, the courthouse around the circus, around the fort, the owner was praised as to how he was readily a move and get it ready for them to move into. But it ain't the same money government paying, the same workers government paying to get all these things done. What are you telling me? What are you saying to me? That it can't be done? A lot of things wrong. This thing can't be right. These things, people have a job, but they're not working. It looks like they only want to get their foot in the door. Once they get their foot in the door and they start getting the salary, everything is okay. It can't be right. What is wrong with us? Salary crazy?
That's the thing too.
Crazy?
That's the thing too. Our leaders have increased their salaries, so the greater expectation for them to work, and the greater people are going to be looking at them even more than before to perform the duties that they have put themselves and been elected to do.
Man, listen, when the more duties and the more responsibility you carry, and the bigger the responsibility, the bigger your pay should be. I am one who say when we close the sugar industry, the Minister of Agriculture should get less pay because he don't carry that responsibility anymore of the sugar industry. So whenever more responsibility, you get more privilege and more pay. So don't tell me that you get less responsibility and you're getting more pay and we're getting less bang for buck. I don't have a problem with the people who are getting money. I don't vex with them. They could get a pay. It's okay. But do the job. Yeah. Nobody vexed with you because you're getting paid. But do the job. Do it. And we'll say, okay, well, he really getting paid, but he performing. But perform. I think I've said enough. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, caller. We have another caller.
Yeah, good morning, man. How you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Yourself?
Yeah, I want to totally agree. I'm pretty good. I want to totally agree with that caller there. And there was a discussion on another radio station yesterday afternoon about work ethics and performance on the job, and some other pertinent topics. And persons want to get paid, but they don't want to do the work. And how hard it is to do business and start a business and such in St. Kitts and Nevis. And these are stuff that's holding back the progress of the country. And different than that, I want to quickly say, I want to encourage the young persons in the St. Kitts and Nevis to get involved in their political affairs in their country so that they can move some of these recycled politicians out of the way so we could get some more new ideas and, so that the country can progress some more. And Azard, the question for you real quick before I get off. You being a lawyer, and everybody is expecting. I wanted to get at you with this question last time Jamsterdam was having the discussion about the Vybz Kartel case. You being a lawyer, I wanted you to give the listeners a quick synopsis and
I must say, I've heard about the Vybz Kartel case, but I haven't read it through to give an opinion on it. To be honest, I've heard about it, but I haven't read
I got you on that. But the question I want to ask you is not in that. What I want to ask you is that you'll be able to answer it. Believe it or not, what I wanted to ask you is what is his option up at the Privy Council? What goes on at the Privy Council when a case is bumped up to that level?
The Privy
That's what I
Council
want
is
you
the
to
final
just,
court of appeal. So once the Privy Council makes a determination, that's it.
What is his options though? What is I'll listen off the air.
No, when you say what
options
you
do
mean,
have
what
at the
are his options? When you appeal, you could,
meaning what are the likely outcome? What are the likely outcomes there today?
well, one would have to look to see what. No, wait. Before you go, because that question is very broad. It has to be taken into context. When you appeal on different things. What is it that he's appealing? Some persons appeal sentence. You understand? Some persons might say that the sentence is too severe. So, without knowing what he appealed on, what he's appealing for, I can't answer that because, as I said before, I have heard it mentioned, but I really didn't take the chance to look into his case like that.
Yeah, I think it was to do with a juror being bribed or something like that.
Okay.
And also about the telecommunication evidence, should those evidence have been admitted in the proceedings.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the two things that I heard so far.
Okay, well, I'll have to look at it, to be honest, because when you could appeal on matters of law, you could appeal on matters of fact, and so you really have to be clear in the information to see what it is his likely outcome would be. And so there's so many cases that happen, you understand? And so I even have my own matters to deal with. So sometimes I see them, but I don't have the time to look at them because I have to deal with my clients as well and the matters that before me. Yes.
All right, no problem, man. Thanks a lot. Okay, thanks. Enjoy the rest of your guys' day.
Okay, no problem. Thanks so much. So, yes.
Yeah.
Well, there was news about the decision being made today in relation to his case, and
somebody's saying he's free already.
Yes, go ahead.
Caller, go ahead. You're live on Island T. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I just want to please don't run me off before.
Why would we do that? Why would we do that?
Following. Yeah, man, I don't get that a lot of time, then I don't know why. Anyway, this morning I heard a press release, and ZIZ, they mentioned that something about the Cairn High School would be doing distant learning from today because of a plumbing problem at the high school. They didn't say anything about mold, but I don't know if mold is part of it. But the person who talk about that is a Cairn man. I agree with him with a number of things that he said. But my thing is that for many years, myself, I and many others were calling into talk shows and mention things like pertaining to the schools in particular, public buildings, especially schools. Imagine a school has a roll of, say, 400. I just using an average. The facilities that are used, the plumbing facilities, toilet, bath, etc. You see how many times somebody would use that. Let's say half of them use it per day. The wear and tear. So I believe either government contract a maintenance arrangement with able plumbing individual or company, or they have somebody on the staff, so they could do these maintenance on a regular basis.
Yeah, and
I know for a case at Bastille High School, the old Bastille High School, where they had plumbing like leakage and stuff, were there for like 3 and 4 years. I know that for sure, but we passed the stage. So we need to get modern. I mean, and look at the thing in proper perspective. Not allow so much to go down.
Yeah, then we have to pay
and
more.
Rebuild and blame. And the blame game shouldn't go on because utilities are man-made and they're going to wear and tear.
Of course.
Just like you maintain an aircraft or a ship, you have to do that through infrastructure. Yeah, and well, anyway, let me forget the other thing. I was going to say something else, but I partly forget. But I think you are doing a good job reviewing news headlines and so forth. But lastly, I find some of you are very biased towards Mr. Trump. Trump said a few, no, not just you all there, you know. That there some people come on as radio announcers and DJs and stuff. Like take a turn and Mr. Trump, call him all kind of names, which he ought not to be. And Mr. Trump said when he was in that NATO partners need to pay the amount for their defense. And that if they don't do that, Russia could do what they want. And see what happened? Right now, I listen to a commentary on BBC some man in Agodia. And they were talking about who paying up and paying well. Because they are now concerned. Even neutral countries like Sweden and Finland was part of the Russian domination already, up to 100 and something years ago. And some smaller countries in Europe, they're frightened, so they're paying up because their policy is you touch when you touch all. So I'm just saying that to show you that sometimes we got to be careful what we say and do. There must do some more apprehension. Anyway, have a good day, Mr. Gumbs. I know you know who's speaking.
I know, Emil. So, thank you for your contribution. Thank you for your contribution so much. And it's.
But it seems when I was passing by this morning, I heard in the news that it will be Donald Trump and Mr. Biden running for. I'm still in awe. I'm just still in awe, but.
We have a caller.
Caller, go ahead. You're live on Island T. Good morning.
Good morning, caller.
Good morning. How are you doing?
Caller?
I could barely hear you.
Yes.
But this one is for the lawyer in the house. There's a case going on. I just need your opinion on the matter. A case going on in the United States with a youngster, apparently a teenager, with alleged challenges in terms of illnesses, mental illnesses. Recently opened fire and killed quite a few, maybe 4. So don't quote me on the figures. But the prosecutor would have brought charges against the parents. Then they're responsible because they should have known of his mental challenges.
How old is the child?
A teenager, less than being able to make decisions for himself. Let's say below 18.
No, why I said that? Because, I mean, it's if you're going to make that argument, I think to a specific age would be, because teenager ranges from 13 to 18, 19. Well, let's say is under the age of majority, so 17. And I think the closer you are to 18 would give persons a greater, would be the presumption that you know more what is supposed to be done, let's say good or right thing supposed to be done. But continue. That's why I asked about the age.
I think the gentleman is 16. Let's sum it all up and say he's 16. And apparently the father went out and bought a gun. And either gifted it to the chap or the chap gained access to it. So that is what he used. What is your opinion on that, firstly? And secondly, I was listening to a caller just now, and it's amazing how we use the term bias. Bias, of course, has a negative connotation attached to it. And oftentimes, people are quick to say, because you may have an opinion that doesn't necessarily support Trump, for example, you're biased against him. And I find that word is often misused, bias. Because if you have your reasons, and the legitimate reasons why you are not a supporter of his philosophies, his behaviors, his actions, his words, whatever, it doesn't necessarily suggest bias. It just suggests that you support somebody else. Because the minute I hear, and most persons hear the word bias, they're telling you, boy, there's something wrong with the opposition that you're taking.
So you said, Carla, before you go on, you said that the father might have known of the child's mental capacity and still gifted him with a gun?
Actually, that's an interesting part of the case, because the prosecution is saying he should have known.
He should
and
have
the
known.
defense is saying, how would he have known? He could not have known.
And so the type of gun that the father gifted the child with, I assume that the father had the necessary requirements, license to carry and buy a gun.
Most correct.
Yes, and so the child being 16, I'm not too certain with the requirements in the U.S. as it relates to the ownership of gun, but are you aware of what would be the age requirement to own one? Could the child have had that requirement fulfilled? If not, then why did the father even give the young man the gun?
But remember, I created two scenarios. I said, either he gifted it or the chap gained access to it.
Okay, then. So he gained.
That is not the question I'm asking. The specific question is, how legitimate do you think the case is to bring those charges against the parent, saying that you're responsible in some form or fashion, complicit to the murder of these individuals who the child shot?
Okay, so first let me say in the U.S., has, when it comes to murder, it has first degree, second degree, it has a different categories of murder, separate and apart from what we have here. In terms of looking at the father, I mean, I think that the prosecution has a relatively good case, and at the end of the day, they would use as much as they can to carry forward their case. The father ought to have known. The father will go out with the child. The father lived with the child. The father, to me, on the face of it, there is some weight towards that, because the father ought to know, or if he doesn't know, should have known, using the objective test that the father, or subjective test that the father is around that child and would know.
It's amazing. You're talking prima facie, it's on face value. However, the defense brought in teachers and principals who were saying they would have never predicted that the guy would have done something like this.
Well, that's what the defense to do as well. And so that really is a very interesting case. That really is an interesting case, because based on what you're saying to me, that you have, on one hand, the prosecution saying that the father knew or ought to have known that the child has this kind of behavior, but the defense is saying, based on the evidence that they're providing, that the child doesn't exhibit those kind of characteristics in school, which is an external environment from the home.
And I think it's an interesting case, and
then one has to look at it too, from a social aspect, not from the legal, but the social aspect. Persons, I think, most of the cases, they tend to behave differently at home and differently at school. Don't you ever find that? That persons might...
Well, I don't have any children, so I won't be able to talk about how children
But that's a very
behave.
interesting case. But then that's where you get...
Maybe they have...
What about the prosecution? Did the prosecution bring in any expert witnesses in terms of psychiatrists, any therapists, anybody like that?
Well, they brought in not necessarily therapists, but psychiatrists and psychologists, because apparently the chap began using social media to post certain drawings of a sick man with a gun and then children dying and those sort of things. So and then, the prosecution is saying where those were signals.
And what about it too?
And as a parent, you're responsible for managing your children's social media activities.
And I guess they're saying that you created the environment for use of the gun. The fact that you bought it and you had it there, you're supposed to perhaps make sure that it's safe from access from children.
Now let's draw parallels, if I may. And unfortunately, I'm going to have to run, and I'm not going to be in a position to listen thereafter the call. Yeah. But can we draw extensions to the Caribbean? Because it is alleged sometimes that parents are very knowledgeable of the activities that their children participate in, and the instruments. I'm not going to say weapons. I want to be politically correct. The instruments that they might either own or have access to.
That is true, but
if police happen to go in someone's home and find a gun in a child's in a child's room or whatever the case is, match it to a murder. And that sort of reasoning be extended to the Caribbean and, of course, think it's a Nevis.
But when you look at the Caribbean and think it's a Nevis, you look at the fact that it's so much easier for persons, for adults to acquire guns in the U.S., licensed guns, where in St. Kitts and Nevis the threshold is much higher. You have to qualify, and you have to apply to the Commissioner of Police and stuff like that. In America, they feel that this is part of their constitutional right that they bear arms, and so the access to gun and licensed gun is so much greater. So that, in that sense, I think would skew it a bit, you know, if you look at all of it.
Yeah, might I just suggest, as I say, I have to run, unfortunately, that you peruse the internet and find out. I think the jury is actually contemplating the decision, and it's shortly.
And the thing about it, these matters, you have the matters of law, but the jury is the determining factor, and they are the, so to speak, the experts on the facts. And at the end of the day, would make their determination on what they believe is more. Sometimes it seems to be more believable because they're still human beings, and whether they feel as if, you know, based on the law and applying it to the facts, that it's justified. So it's something I think that's very interesting. Well, what's the name of the case?
I am not certain.
Okay.
I'm not certain.
That's very
but
interesting.
You can just Google it.
Yes.
Parents be held accountable for murders that the child caused. Okay, have a beautiful.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We have another caller. Caller, you're live on Island T. We have another caller. Caller, you're live on Island T.
Hello? Caller, can you turn your radio down a bit, please? Thank you.
Hello?
Hi, good morning.
Hey, good morning. The case that he was talking about, the mother already been tried, and if I'm not mistaken, she was found guilty.
Okay.
Because, number one, this child grew up around guns. It started out from what the case thing, it started with the child having BB guns, and then he got a gun as a present.
Oh, okay.
But the child was always exhibiting that behavior, because from what the school said, the fact that he just said that they brought in teachers that said they didn't expect this from the child is surprising. Because when the school called the parents numerous times and talk about the drawings that he was drawing in school with blood and kids dying and those kind of things.
And Carla,
I think, if I'm not mistaken,
What and I'm glad you made that point, because then when you said teachers, when he said teachers were brought in, I think about teachers at what level? Because it could be, was it teachers who presently teach him? Is it teachers who taught him maybe 5 years ago? So persons and their development at different stages and what they exhibit at different stages or different age way differently. If you catch what I'm saying. So
exactly,
are they present teachers who I am teaching him now and I'm seeing this, are these teachers who say, well, I knew him when he was small and he never had those. So again, were these present teachers? So, and it's for the defense to prove their case. So you know that the defense will come in. Go ahead.
If I'm not mistaken, I think when they said they went to his house, his bedroom door was riddled with BB guns pellets. Okay. Because he used to use his room as he got a bullseye on his room door, and he used that as target to practice. Wow. So the child had problems from a long time. And from what they said, the school have been calling in the parents. And if I'm not mistaken, the very day he shoot up the school, the parents were called in, and the mother refused to take the child to go see a psychiatrist. She left the child in school, and that's when he shoot up the school. So the mother, I think, already been charged. Now it's the father's case, because then the father decide they're going to try. They don't want the case to join. They want it separate.
Okay. And that's
so the mother case already been tried.
So you see, again, so these are times when someone might ask a question, and I say to them, I need more information, you need more facts, because you present more information to us than was presented just previously. You get what I'm saying? And so we are able to then decipher and see where something is going based on the information and the facts presented.
Caller, let me ask you a question though.
Exactly.
Do you think that parents being charged now for the crimes that their children commit with guns, do you think that is fair? And do you think that will deter other children from committing these crimes, knowing that their parents will go down with them?
Well, it can be a deterrent, but some kids don't care that whether their parents are being charged. But in this case, the parents should be held responsible.
I think in
Why
this,
I said that because they were called in.
Okay. Fair enough.
Because they were called in to discuss his behavior. They bought him the gun. And if you know your child is displaying this kind of behavior, something obviously is not going on right upstairs.
Yeah.
Go get the child help.
I
and
think-
they refused to get the child the help that he needed.
based on what you've said and based on what the other caller have said, the fact that you gifted the child with a gun, I think it's what the prosecution is using as his main point. Because the gifting of the gun, the access to the gun, I think is what they're using based on the information that you guys have provided to link. Because that's where I think the clear link would be if you're taking it from the side of the prosecution, the access that the parents gave
They
him,
gifted him the gun,
gifting
and,
of the gun.
and the warning signs were there, and the parents ignored the warning sign because they should have listened to the school, take the child to go get the
help he
necessary
needed.
help that he needed, and the mother left him at school the day. And that's when he shoot up, kill the kid because she left him. She refused to take him to go get the psychic help he needed.
But
So they should be held responsible.
wow. And with the fact that they gifted him the gun, do you think they themselves should have still been in control of this gun unless they were going on the range, like keep it in their lockbox, keep it away from him?
But the fact that they gifted a young man
It
the
should
gun.
have been in a lockbox.
Yeah.
Yeah, they should have.
But
Yeah,
the
you
kid is
give him
somewhat-
it. But you don't give
But
him.
from what they said, the kid is accustomed to have his BB gun in his room, and that's where he did his target practice with his BB gun in his room.
Yeah, we know the BB
On
guns.
his door,
We
so
know
he
the.
accustomed.
Yeah,
You
but
start with a BB gun and you go on to the real
yeah,
thing.
but they should have kept the gun away from him unless they were going to a shooting range. So they, well, anyways, they are being charged. So they were totally negligent in this entire situation because you bought a kid a gun and you're not checking to ensure that he doesn't carry this gun to school, and the school is complaining to you about his behavior. So I guess they're really gonna bear the consequences now.
Exactly. Exactly. The fact, and what make it worse, I think what make it so difficult why they charge them is because the day the school tell them, take the kid home,
Yes.
take him to go get help.
They didn't.
And the mother said the child is fine.
Okay,
And
so
she left him at school.
So
And
it's-
that's it.
so it's a Michigan case. Is it the one with Jennifer Crumbley, the mother? Okay,
Yes.
so I'm looking at it right now. Yes, I'm looking at it right now, and there's so many cases. You have to understand, there's so many cases that go on, because in St. Kitts and Nevis we already have so many cases. Imagine in Jamaica, imagine in the US, there are thousands of cases happening every day. So, to identify one or the other, yes, we have to understand that. So, and each case have its own facts, and so you have to apply the law to those particular facts. So here we have a Michigan gunman's mother found guilty of manslaughter. We have a caller? Okay. Okay, then go ahead. Yes.
Hello, caller. Good morning. You're live on Island T.
Good morning, Island. Good morning. Good morning, Azard. Good morning to you. And good morning, Jamster.
Good morning.
Yes, good
Good
morning.
morning to you, young lady there. Good morning.
Morning.
Now, my little input this morning is about work ethic.
Yes.
And I call all you was talking about performance. I used to work in the sugar industry. And I got to work to make money. Because if I ain't work and make a certain amount of ton, when it comes to the end of the week, I ain't do nothing. I used to work in the construction, and if I ain't perform, I can't make the money. Because the boss man gone way. So I got to perform, go out there, maybe class at 2 or 3 wall,
I run up maybe 100 fed or something and do me work good, clean too. You gotta do the work clean. And a lot of people in government service working, they ain't performing, but they're getting the big salary every month.
Mm-hmm.
And I do not feel that if you working, you're in a certain position, whether you're PS, a parliament secretary or whatsoever you be to any minister in government, and you ain't performing doing your work, man, something got to work out, because remember we the taxpayers paying you, you know. We're the one paying you. And you must have some kind of consideration, some kind of heart.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them, when they go for the job, they just got to think, punch in, and back home or back for the next job. A lot of these things happen. But what? You see, when we go to the poll to elect a government, the people have got to be serious when they don't elect this at government, you know. They got to be very serious and kick the government on the toes, kick the government on the feet. Let them know people want performance, people want to see the constituency, everything work out. Things where they want to, things where they promise in the constituency, they want to see it work out. I know that sometimes the budget and nobody perfect and whatever. Or where your budget for a constituency or whatever. But something need to be done with some people working in government office and just want to hand out. And then when the month time comes, they're going to shop, they're going to do this, they're going to do that. Anyway, Azard.
Yes.
A lot of people got problem, right? But I believe that as long as you're not engaged with a caller, because it's constructive and it's talking something where you want to hear, I believe in a talk show, a caller is supposed to take 2 minutes on a talk show, but just 2 minutes. Because some people want to call and want to start from Africa, go right around the world, and come back to St. Kitts. He can't work out that way. Other people want to call in too. They must have some kind of consideration of the caller. All right then, you all have a wonderful day. God bless.
All right.
Thank you so much, Carla. Thank you for your contribution. Yes. We're going to take a short break and we'll get back to you.
Feeling lucky? Your winning streak starts now with the Pick 3 and Pick 4 Mega Ball Bonanza. That's right. Pick your lucky numbers in Pick 3 or Pick 4, then grab all 5 boards and add the Mega Ball to at least one. Bam! You've instantly got yourself a free $1 ticket. That's 5 chances to win big. Plus a guaranteed $1 win just for playing the Mega Ball way. So grab your Pick 3 and Pick 4 play slips today at Caribbean Lottery Agents island-wide. Must be 21 and over to play.
Here are your Horsford's Value Mart IGA special.
Running March 7 to March 28.
Now our Value Club Blue Tax specials. Nature Valley granola bar is $9.99. La yogurt just $3.39. Essential Everyday shredded and chunk cheeses $7.99. Kool-Aid jammers $13.99. IGA and Essential Everyday waffles and pancakes $10.99. Purex liquid detergent $15.99. And now our very low weekly
value deals. Starkist tuna $3.99. IGA and Essential Everyday mac and cheese $2.99. Dunkin' Hines cake mixes and brownies $5.99. Hunt spaghetti sauce $8.49. VO5 shampoo and conditioner $5.49. Irish Spring Baso $11.99. Shop Smart, Shop Value Mart, tell them in Spanish.
Sea listo y haga sus compras aquí en
Value Mart.
We are back and you're listening. We're here on Island T and we have another caller. Caller, you're live on Island T. Caller? Okay, so we had callers. So we encourage you to call back and to give your views on matters we're here talking about. So we have a caller. Caller, you're live on Island T.
Good morning. That case raises some interesting problems, I would say, because we all know the idea of essentially collective responsibility and where the buck stops and all that. For instance, an employee in a company can do something that the manager or CEO is totally unaware of, totally against the rules. But if it is egregious enough, if it is bad enough for the company, they have to take responsibility regardless.
You're talking about in that matter vicarious liability, where the employer is responsible for the actions, negligent actions of its employees.
Right, but one would argue that the same thing applies with parents, with the interactions of parents and children.
Well, that vicarious liability we talk about employers. When we go into the law, there are different categories. In a one size fit all. But I understand what you're saying from outside perspective that may be the application. But when we look at different things, when it comes to vicarious liability, a lot of it is the emphasis is on employee.
Employee.
Yes, a lot of the emphasis is on that.
But the thing is, though, a lot depends on the experiences that people have.
And then when you talk about collective responsibility, that's more that is popular when it comes to cabinet and stuff like that. So all those terms, and so I looked at the case. Well, I looked at the article as it relates to the case, and the mother was found guilty of involuntary manslaughter, and so I heard some of the arguments.
But that's tough. I mean, the thing is, it's tough. You see, I remember actually this case when you all spoke about it. It reminded me of a case when I was a kid in school still, and for summer, the friends of a friend of the family went away and left their child. Well, it was a teenager with us, and he actually showed me a gun. I mean, my parents would have flipped if they knew that a gun, nicely greased in a plastic bag and so on, was in the house, and they had absolutely no idea. And I, just a kid, small kid, too scared to. I mean, getting that close to a gun.
Yes.
Didn't say anything. Okay? And so it shows, would it have been fear, for instance, if my parents had been charged with what? It's their house. The gun was found there. Would it have been fear? How could they have known? You see, and so we have to be very careful when it comes to parents and the liability, having liability for their children. I mean, even if they're on the age, they do some strange things, okay, and they have a mind of their own. And how far do you go in holding parents responsible? I think where you can stop, if they did something that caused really serious, that had real serious consequences, and it can be, let's say, paid for, then perhaps the parent should be held responsible for that.
So we have a segment here with the nurses. So Mr. McMahon, we're going to take up in there, and at 9:30 we could continue the discussion on this. Okay, if you call back. Okay, thank you so much. And so we are here with the nurses, with some nurses, and it's World Kidney Day. And so in recognition of the day, we have some nurses here with us, and we welcome them. Welcome. How are you guys doing?
Okay. We're good.
Wonderful, wonderful. So tell us. So it will be good, and give us your names and then tell us the department that you're coming from, and we could get into the interview.
Okay. My name is Betisha James. I'm staff nurse at the hemodialysis unit at the JNF Hospital. I've been there for 2 years. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Good morning. My name is Glycy Diaz. I'm from Cuba and I'm working at JNF Hospital in hemodialysis unit for 9 years.
Oh, wow. Okay. So wonderful. And today is considered the World Kidney Day?
Yes.
Okay.
It's celebrated in the month of March. That's every second Thursday in the month of March. And today, 14th, marks that day.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So tell us.
We're basically here to, in celebration of World Kidney Day, which is the global health awareness campaign focusing on the importance of the kidneys and reducing the frequency and impact of the kidney disease and its associated health problems. The celebration was intended to create awareness about the importances of maintaining good kidney health and to avoid any health complications. And this year we are celebrating under the theme Kidney Health for All, Advancing Equitable Access to Core and Optimal Medication Practices. Basically, we are saying that the services are accessible at JNF. We have nephrologists, we have a nephrology clinic that you could come and you get your checkup. You probably thinking that something is going on with me, but I don't know what it is. You have headaches, blurred vision and stuff like that, signs of hypertension. You go and you basically get a checkup.
Mm-hmm. So tell us, what is chronic kidney disease?
When we say chronic, we think about words like gradual, reoccurring, persistent. So chronic renal disease is basically a gradual decline or decrease in the kidney function over time.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't just happen one time. It takes some time.
And what are some signs and symptoms of it?
My colleague answer. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay, we have a frequent urination.
Mm-hmm.
You may have edema because the kidneys are not functioning. The fluid can't escape. Basically, it's not doing its work. There's no excretion. Nothing is coming out. So you might have some edema.
Yes.
The face might look puffy. You notice your legs are swollen.
Yes. Okay.
We also have tiredness. You notice that you're not really doing anything, but you are really tired. Mm-hmm. You want to sleep. It might be vomiting.
Your blood pressure can be higher.
Mm-hmm.
And your blood sugar as well.
Okay. So could you tell us about the stages of chronic kidney disease then?
We have 5 stages of the disease.
Mm-hmm.
Some stages have 2 parts. Stage 1, which is kidney function at 90% or greater. The kidneys at that time, they're working fine. Stage 2, 60 to 89% function. That's mild kidney damage. You're peeing less now. Stage 3A, which is mild to moderate kidney damage, that's a function at 45 to 59%. Stage 3B, that's kidney function at 30 to 44%. That's the moderate to severe damage, as I said before. Stage 5, we have 15 to 29% function. That's severe kidney damage. And at this point, you might need dialysis. In stage 5, if function is less than 15%, that's kidney failure. At this point, there's no reverse.
Wow. So it's important for early detection.
Yes.
Yeah. So who is at risk for kidney disease?
Well, patient with diabetes, hypertension, who does have family with history renal kidney disease, a patient with drugs abuse, so that's the patient with the risk in disease. Obesity.
Okay.
Old age.
Yeah, elderly, yes.
So how do persons prevent end-stage renal disease?
With prevent renal disease by keep good lifestyle, drink adequate water, exercise at least 30 minutes for 5 times a week, maintain ideal body weight, like control your body mass index is how you look, avoid kidney toxic drugs. You know, sometimes people take some medication, it's nephrotoxic and can damage your kidney. If you already have any damage or you in any stage, can be worse. So take medication as prescribed. For example, if you have a CKD and you already secondary to hypertension, take your medication as your doctor prescribes, so we can get worse your function. So regular checkup, control your blood sugar, every 3-6 months, control your fasting glucose at 70 and 110 every day, control your blood pressure. The optimal blood pressure is 130 to 80. Stop drinking and smoking. And we're going to talk about diet now. So please eat healthy food, include different foods. Eat the right amount of protein. It's supposed to be 0.6 or 0.8. Check your nutritionist to avoid what you can eat. For example, soup, processed food, condiment, starved fruit, and nuts and seeds.
Okay. So what other message would you like to send to persons out there, as you know, today we recognize it as World Kidney Day? What message would you like to send to others out there? Any other message?
Basically, whether you think that you have the disease, you've noticed some signs, or you are thinking about it, whether you are there already having the damage, we'd like you to just be more aware of the things that you put into your body, how you treat your body, to basically visit your healthcare provider more frequently, male and female, that is. We have the services, so take advantage of them. We have free screening at the health centers, that's at the primary care level. We have the hospital clinics that you could come to. I don't know about the charges, but I'm sure that they're not as expensive as, the private.
Yes. If you feel anything different, you can go to our hospital. We have 2 doctors, nephrologists, Dr. Dieguez and Dr. Rodriguez. They have clinic at Thursdays, 1 p.m., so you can visit them.
So they could visit the doctors on
the hospital. Yes, we have clinic.
And you said on
Thursdays.
Thursdays at 1 p.m.
Yes, 1 p.m.
Okay. And so today is what? Thursday. So
yes,
perfect
day.
If persons want to visit, you could go at 1 p.m. It's already 9:22, so you have a few more hours if you are concerned having listened to this. So you could go and do your checkup at the hospital. So I want to say thank you so much for coming into the studio, for sharing your information with us. And I know that our listeners are grateful for the information that you have shared, and that they will take advantage of the information shared and make sure they make the best of it. So thank you so much.
Thank you. It was our pleasure.
Yes. Okay. Yes. So we'll take a short break.
WINN is 98.9. 98.9 is Win FM.
The Kim Collins Athletic Stadium and the Nevis Athletic Stadium will be energized by SKN's top athletes for the 2024 TVC Track and Field Inter-School Championship. Be a part of the historic multi-city event when SKN Athletics bring you 4 days of track and field on Thursday, March 14th and Friday, March 15th at the Kim Collins Athletic Stadium, and Saturday, March 16th and Sunday, March 17th at the Nevis Athletic Stadium. Saturday tickets are $30 preferred seating, $15 for adults on the ground, and $10 for children on the ground. Sunday tickets are $40 preferred seating, $20 for adults on the ground, and $15 for children on the ground. Tickets are available at City Drugstore Nevis and Digicel St. Kitts. It's energy, energy, energy for the 2024 TDC Track and Field Inter-School Championships. March 14th to March 17th at the Kim Collins Athletic Stadium and the Nevis Athletic Stadium. Sponsored by TDC, the Department of Sports St. Kitts, and the Department of Sports Nevis. Energy!
Hi, and we're back. We're back on Island T. Hoping and trusting that everyone is having a good program so far. We've been talking about a number of issues. We just had some nurses in here, and they spoke about, today is World Kidney Day, and so they spoke about kidney disease, and they did such a great job in informing us about what to expect and how to we should really take our checkups, and prevention is better than cure, as we are often told. And so I want to thank the nurses who came in, took time out from their schedule, and offered us the information necessary to really take and arm ourselves with, so we could do better for ourselves. And so thank you to the nurses, and to I'm sure they perhaps are going to be on other stations. I'm not sure, but that's usually the case. So if they are, then I wish them well as they continue to spread the message and continue to keep us informed as to the issues as it affects our bodies. We have our caller. Caller, you're live on Island T. Yes, caller. Okay, so we spoke about the U.S. lawmakers seeing. Yes, go ahead. You're live on Island T.
Good morning, peace to you.
Hi, good morning. How are you doing?
My name is Lincoln David Pell. I'm calling on two topics.
Yes.
One, as a former police officer, naturally the police will be prosecuted.
Right? Yes.
Prosecuting well. So what happened? They have something named causation. What caused something to happen, and persons to be tried. And that is tried based on what happened, what caused the incident, what caused something to happen, someone could be charged in that. And therefore, the parent will fall some right on the day, because what happened? They doing and not doing contributed to that's what happened. So it's like causation into it. And then they have something named, as you should know, what is the close proximity of the person? Do they have a duty of care? That's where I'm coming from. Do parents have duty of care for children in those conditions to make sure they're properly guided and looked after? And, so that's what it boils down to. However, our law and the U.S. law are basically identical, the common law. But the U.S. over time would have introduced legislation specifically for them. So in our case, we deal with children. You know the term daddy incopac, right? Azard? You're the love man.
Say that again?
Daddy incopac.
Say that again?
The legal term, daddy incopac.
But so there are some terms that persons use often,
Okay,
often, and you don't necessarily.
Our law says it used to be 8 years. Now I think it's up to 10 years. Anybody under those that year, age, and do something, basically it falls on the parent. But you realize there's some bigger countries that even take it a bit further. If you're under 16, if you're under 17, if you're under 18, your parents are still responsible for you. So these are the kind of legal thing that comes in between there as well.
So you're talking about duty of care, and of course, parents have a duty of care to ensure that their children are kept safe and secure. So and that goes to not just criminal law, but that goes into when you look at yes, when you look at tort, and so
and also in the strict liability offenses, like traffic offenses.
So yes, so. But I know you said something about the U.S. The U.S. when it comes to the criminal aspect, they have different categories when it comes to murder and all of those things. In those jurisdictions, they classify degrees of murder. We have a blank slate, which is murder, and then we have manslaughter, voluntary manslaughter, involuntary manslaughter, and then the law governs those accordingly. They have voluntary manslaughter, involuntary manslaughter, and they still have first degree, second degree murder when it comes to that. So they have some changes, so to speak, and in relation to ours. But go ahead.
Yes, and the other point I want to bring over, sir, is that the police is responsible for finding the strongest evidence to bring a case against the person. And the police, as we could say, would have done that and find the necessary evidence and the necessary laws to back up the information they have, to bring and successfully prosecute, for now, the mother. I also want to say, well, so that's something we have to look at as well, and also guide ourselves accordingly.
But I think based on this particular case and having read and seen what persons have been, I think it was very instrumental, the fact that they gifted the child the gun, and knowing that the child would have been having these sort of behavioral patterns that would suggest violence. And I think those two striking facts is what is really being hammered here in this
and that's
matter.
where the causation comes into being.
Mm-hmm.
Causation. If it wasn't for them with all those things that they were doing, and not even taking due care to look to see, well, look, my child has a problem, and therefore I should discontinue. That's where
And
the whole
the
causation
mother
comes in.
was charged with involuntary manslaughter, right? So that is what the mother was charged with. And
Yes, I know, but the causation is evidence to prove that that's what we have to charge her, because, so that's what, that's it. And also, I was trying to call him when the nurses were there to find out about what foods and drinks we should drink or not eat to prevent those kind of the kidney disease. Because, yes, the more we are enlightened, it is also better for us to have a healthy being and a healthy society. And as you know the saying, a healthy nation is a wealthy nation, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if we could keep our persons healthy, also equip us with some information as to what not to eat and what not to drink, what to drink and what to eat. And of course, sleep is very important. We have to rest our bodies certain times. So it's don't know if they will have a chance to come across. Anyone who have this information could enlighten the populace and all who listen. So thank you very much. God bless. Thanks, Nick.
Okay, thank you for your contribution, Carlo. Mm-hmm. So here we're talking about we've been talking about murder. We've been talking about that trial, and here it says Belize police probe the murders of a mother and child. So here it says police in Belize say that they have detained one person after a woman and a child was shot and killed in broad daylight on Tuesday in the at the. Okay, so we have a caller. Oh, okay. Okay. So it says here the Assistant Commissioner of Police confirmed the deaths, and a video posted on social media which showed a woman lying on the ground motionless and a girl in the pan. A caller, you're live on Island T. Go ahead.
Yes, Azard. I wonder how far should we go in applying that causation concept, because it raises some moral dilemmas. Should we know, for instance, that some crimes, gang-related, for instance, are the result of mostly young men. Okay, do we incarcerate all young men? That would solve it, but is it a moral thing to do? Can we apply the Herod solution, for instance? The Herod solution. We don't know which one it is, but it's one of them, so go with all of them. That raises some moral dilemmas. I mean, yes, it was caused by the gifting of the gun, I would say. But even before that, there was they brought that child into the world, right? Should we have said that? Well, they should not have had any children.
But
So
no,
how
I
do you apply
think
that cause?
I think that's far removed. The last one, that's far removed. But I think, and we have the mother was found guilty of the involuntary manslaughter, and I think that what the prosecution, the main argument that they're doing, they're using based on looking at it now, is the fact that the gun was gifted, the gun was there.
So you're saying they should not have gifted. Or is it that they should not have gifted the gun to that particular child?
And then,
are you saying that no parent should gift a gun?
Say that again?
Are you saying that no parent should gift a gun to their offspring?
Well, it goes to, based on the information that the callers were stating, Mr. Mahan, it goes to the fact that the child had the propensity, or seemed to have had the propensity of violence, to commit violent acts. And reports were made by the school.
Most people have that propensity in given particular conditions. You see, that's the problem.
But I think every case is determined on its facts. Its own merit. Its facts. You understand? So this case, so when you apply in the law, you have the law there, but then you must apply the law to the facts presented. So every case would have its own facts, and you must apply based on the facts presented before you. So
and the punishment should actually fit. I'm sure that mother must be feeling that she had unfair treatment, having to, did she go to jail for manslaughter or whatever it is?
Yeah,
right?
you would have that.
What level of punishment, having been found guilty, what level of punishment would be appropriate?
But in this scenario, 4 persons. I see a picture where they had 4 persons in the article. So I assume that 4 persons were killed as a result of the action of the child. Here you have a young man whose parents gave him a gun, or he had access of having that gun. And you have here where persons are saying that he had the propensity to commit violent acts that the schools would call and stuff like that. So you have all of those things weighed with the fact of him being given access, even in light of all of these things.
Okay. I guess, as you said, each case according to its merit, but it's so unfortunate for those parents, I think. Yes, they had victims, but do we get back the victims by making somebody else a victim? Those are considerations, I think. All right.
Yes. So, okay. So I was talking about we have another caller. Caller, you're live on Island T?
Yes, good morning, Azard.
Hey, good morning, Jamdon. What's up with you?
Yes. I just calling to give me 2 cents. Azard, the same problem you are talking about.
Which one?
We're going to experience these kind of things just now in St. Kitts, The reason why you're saying this is because our juvenile court is gone to the dogs. And I'm calling on that. These are the things that should put in place as the Attorney General. You see the old Gigi Arundel? Oh my God, for years in the magistrate court. He has done his turn. That's enough for that. I want to get to something very serious and disturbing right here yesterday. I have a good friend named Lucy. You cannot paint all Kittishan with one broad brush. Anywhere you go in these islands, you got a young man in work, and you got some believe in work because they understand this kind of life here. You understand, Azard?
Yes.
And I want that young man to know, Kittishan and Sabai, we carry this country from since the Great Depression, my good friend. And Ike, my friend, don't entertain them thing, boy. You watch them old man from Sandy Point walk a box, escape. How you could be supporting this nonsense? But Kittishan don't like what? And Kittishan, and my good friend of Monkey L.I., but Kittishan is thief. We have this spoil, a lot of spoils in the box apple. But don't paint us in the broad brush. I'm very offended, Lucy. You all don't know much about St. Kitts. Boy, don't need them nonsense about I know why make us looking worldwide. Boy, I don't need that. I was trying to get in when the nurses them was there.
Yes.
To highlight certain things. Because we want more awareness. It's too much young man coming down with kidney problems. They're eating right. The health department is not telling these people to eat fruits and vegetables. You ain't seeing the awareness out there. All we're seeing is people in position trying to fool people and trying to look for themselves. And we're going to weed it out enough. We're going to sift them out. Like how when you build your house and you're going to go, you want the fine sand, we're going to sift out all of them. Have a good day, Azard.
Thank
and
you,
keep
you
it going.
too.
And you must try to control the callers. Have a good morning.
Okay then, thank you so much. Yes, we are going to take a short break. We want to acknowledge Pangea, who is a sponsor. So, of the upcoming Rams Primary School Championship. Yes.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Let's the fire. It's pure fire when the track gets set ablaze for the 2024 Rams Primary School Championships. On Thursday, March 21st, the Kim Collins Athletic Stadium has the fire. And on Friday, March 22nd and Saturday, March 23rd, the Sandy Point New Recreation Ground will be set ablaze. Admission on Thursday, March 21st is free. Yep, free. Admission on Friday, March 22nd is $10 children and $15 adults. Admission on Saturday, March 23rd is $15 children and $20 adults. Start time for all days is 12 p.m. sharp. So come on out and bring the family because it's fire on the track for the 2024 Rams Primary School Championships. Ready for me.
Are you looking for a new dining experience to whet your appetite? Explore the flavors of the world at Pangea Multi-Cuisine Kitchen and Lounge. Our menu features Latin, Chinese, Mexican, and Indian cuisine with a local twist. The cozy and elegant ambiance provides the perfect backdrop for an unforgettable dining experience. Whether you're in the mood for a romantic night out, a family dinner, or a business lunch, our restaurant is the perfect place to discover new tastes and enjoy a delicious meal. Book your table at Pangea Multi-Cuisine Kitchen and Lounge today by calling us at 465-9100 or visit our website at ktcsvdm.com and our Facebook page at Pangea by KTCS Limited. We are located in the heart of Port Sante, Bastille, St. Kitts. Come and explore the flavors of the world.
And we're back to Island T. And of course, we welcome all the callers. We want to say thank you. We have a caller. Caller, you're live on Island T. Go ahead.
Yeah, good morning again, Azard.
Hey, good morning. How are you doing?
Azard, let me tell you something. With this youngster, this Jew, you know,
yes.
the cars that act. No, we want to tell me he ain't showing some kind of intentionality, the kind of person be in school or whatsoever. They ain't gonna record check about him. That to a parents to give him a gun or whatsoever, or put a gun in his head that he could take up.
So here, the article says here, right?
I agree with them that to penalize the mother.
The article says here, a jury found a Michigan mother guilty of involuntary manslaughter for failing to stop her son from carrying out a deadly school shooting. Jennifer Crumbley, 45, is the first U.S. parent convicted of manslaughter over a mass shooting carried out by their child. Prosecutors accuse her of being negligent in allowing her son to have a gun and ignoring the warning signs. Her husband, James, is facing a separate trial on the same charges. He has pleaded not guilty. Their son, now 17, is serving life in prison for killing 4 classmates at the Oxford High School in Michigan on 30th November 2021. 7 people were also injured in the shooting. The judge, speaking to the jurors, said that this was probably the hardest thing you've ever done. Ms. Crumbley appeared emotionless and stared straight down as the verdict was read in Oakland County Court on Tuesday. She was charged with 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter, each carrying a maximum sentence of 15 years. Some relatives of those killed in the shooting expressed relief over the verdict. When parents get blamed for their child's mass shooting, the people spoke. The father of the 16-year-old killed in the shooting told BBC in a statement, "You can agree or disagree with the people, but this is how the system is supposed to work."
Well, Azard, they send an example to other parents out there who indulge in that kind of act with their children.
So this is the
That's
first
an example
U.S.
to them.
This is the first U.S. parent convicted of manslaughter over a mass shooting carried out by their child.
Yeah, that's an example to the parents. Azard, even here, think it, a lot of these young men, as soon as they say something to them, they wish that they had the gun. But if I had the gun, see? And this is what's going on.
And the
This is what's
question,
going on.
the question,
I want, Azard, you know what I want? The government, the Caribbean government, just look how they're doing now, to step down on these guns who come into our shores. Guns are very deadly. And people are very ignorant and stupid. When they got a gun in their hand, they will do anything. You can't talk to some people right now because they got a gun. Because the man that got a gun, you can't go in the mountain because I got my gun, Anytime I see you coming up here, I'm going to do this and that with you, Where you going? Where you going for then? Where you going? You're going to get it? And this is the thing that this gun scaring thing coming in the country, that people panicking. Because people just walking, threatening you and saying kind of negative thing about you. It's something I want to talk, but I don't want to say on the radio.
Okay.
What happened to what an elderly man showed me yesterday when somebody do with it, he crap. Because the person ignorance with some dog come and he farm and eat up a lot of sheep. And because he do what he got to do. This guy do what he got to do with his farm and do all kind of negative things. And this is thing that we supposed to stamp out, and when a man check you, tell you he got this and he got that. But man, go to the police. Go to the police and make a report at the station or whatever. Okay then, Azard, you take care.
Thank you so much, Carlo. And we on the case still, and it says the question at the heart of the trial was whether the mother could have foreseen and prevented the deadly crime. Miss Crumley and her husband James bought the gun their son used just days before the shooting. They were charged by police within days of the killings. Police, we have another caller. Caller, you're live on Island T.
Yes, yes. I want to highlight this to enforcement and especially the judiciary. When you go to like school sports, function over frigate there, anyway, in general, we young public, in every mishaps, we young public got a tendency. I like to threaten people with guns. And then when the parents around, in the heat of everything, we're coming out the word, I will get a gun and give it son to kill you. A calling and that. They say they're going to open up thinkets, you don't know there. Mind, that mind. Mind, the Attorney General mind. Do what is right. Just what happened in the States, we're going to see it here. I'm calling on you, my good friend, that please to go and revisit that juvenile court. I mean, they'll have it under good control, in his magistrate days. I'm calling on you, God, please to do that. Because the parents, them ain't no better than the children, them. Have a good day, Azard, and keep it going. The poor people, they say. Have a good morning again.
Good morning. Thank you for your contribution. It says here in this article, and it's a BBC article, it says for more than 2 years they have been kept in county jail, unable to make bail. Initially, the parents were supposed to be tried together, but in November sought separate trials. James Cromley is scheduled to go on trial in March, and is March now. At her trial, and that's the mother, prosecutors presented evidence that Ethan Cromley had wanted mental health help and complained of hallucinations, but said his parents did not give him treatment. Ms. Cromley said that on the stand she did not think her son had mental health problems. On the morning of the shooting, the parents cut short a school meeting about a disturbing drawing their son had made to go to work and declined to take the 15-year-old home. So it says here, on the morning of the shooting, the parents cut short a school meeting about a disturbing drawing their son had made to go to work and declined to take the then 15-year-old son home. The school officials sent him back to the class without checking his backpack, which contained a gun. Just hours later, he killed Hannah St. Juliana, 14, Mayer, 16, and Madison and Justin, both 17. Some experts have suggested that the case against the Cromleys could lead to more charges for parents of children who commit mass shootings. Stephen Morse, a professor of law at the University of Pennsylvania, said he disagreed with the verdict, arguing that because Ethan Cromley had pleaded guilty, he was the only one responsible for the shooting. Says, I understand that she was not necessarily the best mother in the world, but this is not a crime, he said. Mr. Morse said that he believed the decision could set a bad precedent, causing court to look at scapegoats in similar situations. Others say that the case is so unusual that it is unlikely to have wider ramifications. He goes on to say, this is a quote from Michigan Clinic professor of law. He says, I don't fear that this is going to open up the floodgates to parents being charged in a run-of-the-mill case, if there's such a thing. Goes on to say another quote, I think the facts of the case are so unique and sort of extreme. End of quote. It says here, prosecutors attempted to make the same case during the 2-week trial, alleging Miss Cromley ignored her son's plea for help despite expressing concerns about him in private messages. They showed the messages between Miss Cromley and a man she had an affair with, in which she said before attending the school meeting on the day of the shooting that she was afraid her son would do something dumb. When she took the stand in her own defense at trial, Miss Cromley sought to put the blame on her husband for the gun purchased for their son. She told jurors that the husband bought their son a gun. No, she told jurors that her husband brought their son to a gun store that day after Thanksgiving to buy him a handgun as a gift. She said she didn't feel comfortable being responsible for securing the gun and left James Cromley to manage it. Ethan Cromley never took the stand because he was expected to invoke his Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination and refused to testify. Families of the victims have expressed frustration that the school officials have not faced the same legal consequences as Mr. and Mrs. Cromley. And this is a quote, why isn't the system allowing the people to decide when it comes to the failures of the school? Another quote is our government under a different set of rules? An independent investigation published last year alleged multiple failures from school systems, including allowing Ethan to return to school without checking his backpack. The school district has pledged to review and improve practices and policies in response to the report. So this case is the first case of its kind in really trying parents for a mass shooting. They've had several mass shootings in the United States, but this is the first time a U.S. parent is convicted of manslaughter over the mass shooting carried out by their child. And we see here in this article that they have been asking too about what about the responsibility of the school and bringing the school into that. And we've seen criticisms here from Professor Law, who said that it could open the floodgates. So, this is interesting. It's a legal matter. Although it's in the States, it's something that, the world perhaps would take into consideration. And, I could imagine once the law provides the other jurisdictions, looking at this case. So we had a very, I think a number of topics were touched this morning. I want to thank the callers for calling in, for giving their opinion on the matters at hand. I want to say thank you for the support that you continue to give the program, ILNT. And I want to wish you well during this day. I wish you that, everyone remains safe and do what is necessary to remain safe as best as you can. And, join us tomorrow, same time, same place.